Hi everyone, this is NSY's Research Notes. Today I have officially started my work as a research assistant, and now I also checked the acceptance rate of BAAL and Second Language Research Forum, and both of them, the acceptance rates of both of them has already reached more than 50%, so hopefully I can be accepted by both of the conferences. And BAL will be held at the beginning of September, and SLRF will be held at the beginning of October, so hopefully I can participate in both of them. And I really hope that I could be admitted. And I say this thing in this video because I want to just like embed a reason, because if you believe in Buddhism, you'll know that if there's a reason, there must be an outcome. So hopefully now I say such things in this video is just like laying a reason here, and one day I hope I could see the outcome, which is the acceptance of those conferences, and eventually the acceptance of the best universities in the world, Oxford or Cambridge. Both of them are excellent. So today I want to talk about my first day of research assistant and the articles that I have read in relation to my current essay, which is the generative AI and second language writing. So my job as a research assistant is basically, actually, our essay is a review article, and I think I probably have already introduced this part in my previous videos. And our task is to write a review article about the relationship or the use of generative AI and second language writing. So this is our major task, and my job is to label different articles. So that PhD student, or I have to say that a senior student, which is much senior than me, had already helped me downloaded more than 300 studies, ranging from the very beginning of or the advent of ChatGPT until now. And we are also constantly expanding the range of our essays, and we will include essays which will be published in April 2026. So currently we're still in the process of collecting essays. We have already collected all those essays before the year 2026, and now the first task that I need to do is to collect the remaining articles that is published in 2026. And also after this task, I will also label all those articles. I mean, more than 300 articles in our category, or in our large set of articles. So my task is to label every single one of them from the very beginning to the very end. And how to label them? There are around 20 categories, and I need to finish 19 of those because the last category belongs to the PhD students. The last category is the core finding or the core opinions of that essay, which is much more difficult. So my tutor or the professor asked the PhD student to do that. So probably I'm not qualified to handle that task. So I need to do the remaining 19 categories of each single paper. I need to firstly I need to write down the title, or actually we constructed a kind of table, or just like a workflow, and we fill in that kind of table together online. And the first thing that I need to fill in is the title of that paper, and we collected paper published in China and also overseas. And after the title, I need to fill in the second category, which is the authors. And third is the year of the publication. And fourth is I need to upload the original file or the original article onto the table to make sure that if the professor or if the PhD student, they want to check it out, they can directly download. So it's just like we are involved in this workflow, and all of us are contributing to our task. And the fifth is the type of the article, and we have various types. First is a kind of experimental task, a kind of experimental article, and the second is a review article, and third is a kind of opinion article. I have to check it out. So in Chinese we say 实证性研究. In English it's empirical research. Okay, I need to remember this terminology. The empirical study, the review article, and also the opinion articles in China, I mean, this is not a great phenomenon. I think this is something that is constantly worsening our academic atmosphere or environment, because lots of Chinese professors, they constantly or blatantly write opinion articles, which I think are, you cannot say they are meaningless, but to some extent they are too subjective. They don't have objective data, or their conclusions or their discussions are not based on their real experiments. So this is something that I think is not very good. And this is such, let me check it out, this word. Rampant. So this is such a rampant phenomenon. Okay. And to remember this word. So after this, the type of the article, and we also record the name of the generative AI, and based on more than 10 articles that I've read, generally they use ChatGPT. And the utilization of generative AI, and we have lots of subsets. For example, generative AI is used to aid or support the writing process. And there is and following the utilization of GAI or generative AI, we need to type down something to further describe how teachers or how students or how basically generative AI is used in that experiment. And then is a target foreign language, and then the target. Well, how to say this in English? Let me check it out. The translation is just writing styles. There are argumentative articles. I'm not quite sure about the terminologies, but you can just see that since this is the review article about second language writing, we need to figure out what writing types are researchers analyzing or focusing on. So this is another category. And the education level, and then the studying experiment, and then the number of participants or materials that they used, and then the time span, whether they collected data once or there is a short period of time to conduct that experiment, and then the methodology, whether it's mixed method or only use the qualitative or only use the quantitative data, and then the source of the data. And just I need to list what type of data they used. For example, AI generated texts, or also video recordings, interviews, and the history of human and AI chats, and also the theories that they have used, or from a kind of perspective, what theoretical perspective they're from to look at this question, and then the theme of their research, and at last the research questions. I need to copy those research questions presented in the article, but if the researchers they didn't really list the research questions clearly, I need to probably find out the research purpose or the aim of their study, or in some rare cases I need to conclude this by myself. But in most cases, I'll just copy the aim of the study to make sure accuracy or the consistency of terminology with the study. So this is my work, and this is what I do as a research assistant. And tomorrow I hope I will introduce several articles that I've read about. Well, probably today I will just introduce the first one. The first one is a Chinese one. It's 基于 ChatGPT 的研究生人机协同学术写作实践研究及其启示. So, you can see that this is a Chinese one, and I think it's pedantic. I cannot quite understand the meaning of the title, and it's written by Li Yan, and I don't know who he or she is. Well, because actually I have really seldom or really rarely read about Chinese articles. It's a kind of empirical study, and the generative AI they or she used is ChatGPT, and the utilization is to support the writing process. And how they used it in the article or in their experiments, the postgraduate students they just input some questions to ChatGPT, focusing or in relation to their studies or the theme of their studies, or their essays, or the essays that they are currently writing about. And through a process of evaluation, asking, or demonstration, and there are just various ways of doing this. And together, human and AI, they together write introduction and the design of their experiments and analysis, and also conclusion or discussion part of the essay. So it's just like using AI. You can see that this article it's still analyzing the process of using such tool. Probably one of the reasons is that this article is published very early in the year 2023. just after the advent of ChatGPT. So probably this is why this article focuses on the process of human machine or human AI interaction. And the target language is Chinese. So you can see that students use ChatGPT to write Chinese. Well, I think this is because this article is published on some Chinese journals. And the writing style is academic writing, and the education level students are postgraduate students or doctor students. In the learning environment, not in classrooms, but extracurricular learning or extracurricular writing. And the participants, the number of participants are less than 30, and the overall span is 2 weeks, and they used mixed method experiment. Means that they used both qualitative and quantitative data. And together they used AI writing sample, the history of human chat with AI and interview, and also they used audio, or I'm not quite sure how to translate this terminology. In Chinese it's 有声思维, or in English it's just like when you're thinking something, you at the same time you convey your thinkings out of your mouth. You just describe what you're thinking while you're thinking. This is 有声思维, or I think it's just like telling what you're thinking when you're doing something. And the last one, the data source is recording of the screen recording. And the theory perspective, they didn't mention that. And the theory is, or the theme of the research is students' recognition and practices with artificial intelligence. So this is why I say this article is published very early, because you can see the theme is still about, well, students' cognition and the process of interacting with AI. Currently, you really seldom see, well, such kind of article because it's relatively outdated. Well, so this is what we have today, and it's 11:30, and it's very, very late, and I have to go now. And tomorrow I have no courses, and hopefully tomorrow I could finish. I don't know whether I can finish this third chapter of the literature review, but I will try my best to do so. And tomorrow I will continue labeling the remaining 300 articles, and hopefully everything goes well, just like today. Today is a good day, and everything goes well. And well, at last I want to say that I really, really hope to be admitted by BAAL or Second Language Research Forum. I hope. I think I will just repeat this every day, at the beginning or at the end of my video. I just want to lay this reason here, and I want to see whether this reason will become an outcome. So, well, this is what we have today, and hope everything goes well, and hope I can be accepted by both conferences. All right, so this is what we have today, and this is MSY's Research Notes. See you tomorrow. Good night.